Hey everybody, this is Pat from the Like Attracts Like podcast and Like Attracts Like Evolution. I want to say thank you really quickly for joining me on this video and kind of go over a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about something I've actually talked about this many times on the podcast before. It's referenced in Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. If you're unfamiliar with Napoleon Hill, he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, which you might be familiar with. But he also wrote this book called Outwitting the Devil. And what he's talking about in this book that was actually just published more recently, not not that recent, but more recently than Think and Grow Rich, because of the kind of ideas that he was presenting to us as far as what that devil is, what that means, how it is anything other than a positive, nurturing thought concept that is progressing you forward in love. Anything that questions or calls you to question who you are, what you're doing, if it's possible for you, and whether or not you are connected to this infinite source of conscious intelligence and love, whatever you choose to call that. Anything that pops into your head, there's no leeway. The second that you are experiencing or aware of a thought that you are perceiving to be negative, that's what he's calling a conversation with what you would call the devil. It is doubt. So the devil is doubt and God is love. And here we are talking about how to make sense of this and what to do with it. So this really helped me incredibly powerfully, this concept called the Law of Hypnotic Rhythm. I will say that although it's referenced in the book and in so many other different aspects of spiritual or conscious culture, especially the new wave thought process that's coming in where people are expanding in greater degrees and evolving quicker as people are beginning to wake up, people like you, all of us beginning to wake up. This little box scenario is similar to another YouTube person that I will link below. His name is Quasi, and he gave me the idea for the boxes. So I don't want to take credit for how he arranged this, but it does help me also explain this the way that I feel is the most powerful or profound for myself. But the idea behind it is what I really want to focus on today, as far as how it can call into question how often we allow ourselves to go down the rabbit hole of thinking or conscious streams that are constantly having a narrative inside of our mind's eye without us being aware of it. So a conscious or spiritual awakening is essence us becoming more and more aware of what we say that limits us to understanding that we are the source of this and that we are heart and soul, while at the same time recognizing just what that means as far as your connectivity to the universe and to people around you and to the life that you want to create. So everything is happening all at the same time, but this is happening all at the same time as you are listening to content like this and expanding. That expansion in a spiritual awakening is, I believe, just that. At the same time as you're becoming aware of your perceived negative story, you're also becoming aware of the possibilities. And that's why a lot of people that have like this awakening at first, there's like this whoa moment, right? This epiphanous, mind blowing, conscious, connected moment where you're like, this is amazing. And then, I mean, what do they say? That's when your third eye opens. That's like that's what you say. Your pineal gland is not calcified anymore, whatever you want to call it. But there's this incredible understanding of how much more there is, and then how important of a part you play in that. But then when we kind of like lower and frequent, that to me is like this instant jump in conscious awareness and expansion, right? Which is what we're trying to do here, dedicating all of this to raising your vibrational frequency in the world so that you have access to more of this conscious experience, this reality. But once you come down off that a little bit, almost like a drug in a sense, you start to look at your life, and at the same time as you realize you created, all the positive things in your life, you begin to realize like, I'm also responsible for all that stuff I didn't like. Well, how did that happen? Because it seems like it had a mind of its own, and it did. It did have a mind of its own. We were pushing it out of our conscious awareness reach to fix it or to shift it. When things are painful, or when things that we experience are painful, we tend to not want to experience that pain anymore. And we're not aware enough yet to know that we have to let it come through us and sit with it and evolve to be able to shift the story to show that we're not scared of it anymore, because it feeds off of the fear. So we push it down and it becomes the shadow self. But what's happening is, again, under the surface, it doesn't go away. It's just sitting there like a teapot waiting to boil over. So even though we're not giving our conscious attention to it, it is telling this narrative and it's affecting unconsciously all the choices that we make. So, this right here, this law of hypnotic rhythm really does help explain how we charge what are seemingly initially neutral thought patterns, ideas, concepts. We charge them with an emotion based on our subjective story. And the more that we charge these neutral thoughts with emotion, meaning it matters or means something to us, or we have a personal connection to this and how it affects us or someone we know or love, the more we do that, it will generate and resonate at the frequency of a belief for us. We could take this neutral thought that's coming in and charge it with this emotion over and over and over again to the point where it will become a belief. So if you were bullied as a kid and someone said you were stupid or you were dumb or you're whatever, I don't know, pick one. We all have one over and over and over again, even though this is not a collective objective truth in the world. You could be very intelligent. You could be, it doesn't matter what is true in the world. If you agree to it and begin to repeat it without, you don't need the person who's bullying you anymore. Eventually, we begin to unconsciously bully ourselves. And even though it is not true, it will turn into a belief and it's charged with emotion. So what happens is, this is the crazy part, amazing part, this little circle right here, you probably, if you're new to the show, I'll talk about it now. If you have been with me for a while, then you know I talk about it a lot. We have something in our brain called the reticular activating system, and it is the thing that is designed to bring to your attention everything that you tell yourself you want to see. So again, I reference the punch buggy game a lot. Anytime you've ever wanted to see something and talked about it a lot, you probably have found for yourself that like it kind of shows up, or like that person calls you, or you see them at the mall, or it's amazing. Sometimes it could seem miraculous, but it's the way the world, it's the way this reality works. So your brain is impartially programmed to bring to your attention what you tell it to. So if you take this whole system and you take a thought that comes in for whatever reason it's coming in, if you agree to that thought and charge it with enough emotion, energy in motion, viscerally pumping through you, it will create a belief system. Now you're dumb because you got bullied in the playground and it's affecting your day. Because why would this person do that? And why would anybody do anything? But that's because they're struggling with something too, and they're projecting it. And we're too young and unconscious to know why or what this means. It is the beginning of the game, even though it doesn't feel like a game sometimes. But that's what's happening. We're charging and creating these belief systems. Our brain then is designed to look in the world and bring what you're telling it to your attention. This is important because it doesn't mean the world is only that. It doesn't mean that the world it's finding the truth in the world. It's finding your truth in the world. When I was going through everything that I was going through and creating everything I was going, it looked like this world was just everything I said it was. Everything I not working out for me, garbage. People are mean. Nobody's nice to you. Can't get this, can't get that. It's hard to do this. That's impossible. Not for me. I can't. Blah 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 blah. Like, and my world showed me exactly that. Why? Because the thoughts came in. I agreed to them because I had evidence of them. I had evidence in my world. Like, don't you see this? Don't you see this? Don't you see this? And I didn't understand how this loop patterning works. So once your brain sees enough of it in the world, which again contains infinite possibility, but it brings the things you're telling it to select to you. So it confirms it for you. If it does it enough times, you confirm these beliefs in the world that you will be, it'll become part of your convicted state. It'll be a conviction. You'll fight to the death to defend your limitations, and you'll believe that those limitations are true, but they're not true. They are subjectively true for you. And when someone challenges that, like I am right now, and says those are not true, you can change those, the thing that most humans will come in to defend is say, you don't know my story. You don't know what I went through. You don't know what I saw. You don't know what all of that is true. Those are things that we see and that we experience, and that 100% would create this. That's why you can't like force this upon someone. Someone has to be like, I am done with this story and telling it. My story that I told was not a fun one. It was not a happy one. And I would swear to you about a decade ago that there was no version of me that told a different story. I didn't want to. Even if you convinced me that there was another way to look at life, I wasn't interested because I felt so attached to that story. To let that story go would be death to me as an identity, like the identity of me, the avatar of pat my hand. It would be death to that version of me. So you have to give permission to tell a new story. And to do that, we use this exact same law of hypnotic rhythm, the same exact chart, but we realize right here that we have a choice. You have to realize right here there's an incoming thought that you have a choice with what emotion you want to charge it. If you want to agree to a negative thought. So if someone came up and they were like, I'm wearing a white shirt, and someone was like, hey, you look terrible in red. Red is not your color. I can't believe you're wearing that shirt. You look like garbage in that shirt. I would be like, I I have a white shirt on. So I don't agree to what you're saying. So since I don't agree, I'm not going to, it affects me not at all. I don't agree with you. I don't understand what you're talking about. This would have to come from an objective truth of me saying, like, this is, I don't believe this is a red shirt, it's a white shirt. If I did have a red shirt on and I kind of like looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't know how I look in red. I'm not too sure, blah, blah, blah. And I had a little bit of a, maybe I don't look good in red. And then someone came up and was like, wow, red? Really, dude? You shouldn't be wearing red. Red's not your color. It would ruin me for the day. It would ruin me for the day. There's no truth of any of this except for what I agree to. So when you shift everything to become more convicted in your belief system about who you are, then you will require no need for the external world to tell you who you are. That's why, again, when we say this journey is an internal one, you can't fix the outside world, which was created unconsciously. You can't fix that so you feel better. It has to be an inside job so that when you're trending through the muck of the unconscious momentum that you've created, that you can really, by knowing who you are and being who you are in the world, you can shift the whole paradigm. So just like in meditation, you're meditating, and what do they tell you to do? Observe your thoughts. You're detached from them. You're not them. Since you can observe them, you're not them. Anything you can observe, you can't be it. You, because there's a subject-object relationship. So you're observing your thoughts, and they're coming through in a ticker tape. Whatever they are, disconnecting from them will allow you to emotionally remove yourself from whatever they say. Make them say whatever you want. You can make them do whatever you want. If you could do that for long enough, then you can realize that you have that choice in the real world too. That you have the ability, no matter what is coming in from whatever part of your story it's coming in, you have the ability to change what those thoughts are and how you feel about them. You can choose to not agree with them. And if you can choose to not agree with them, they will lose energetic momentum over you. So, what it is about identifying what it is that you say that you don't like, being aware and recognizing when they come into your awareness during the day, when they come into your life during the day and your thoughts. And in that moment, knowing that you can reset this whole thing straight by choosing what it is that you want to see now, because you have the power and faith that you could tell a new story. So if you could do that for long enough, now you're going to charge different energy. You're going to create different belief systems that are going to tell your brain to look for different things that you deliberately tell it to look for because it's impartial and designed to do that. And then when it's confirmed in the world, because it will be, because the world contains everything, you will see signs of positivity. You will see signs of things working out. You'll see people holding the door. You're going to see that which you ask for when you more consciously begin to ask for what you want. The last part of this, you have to feel worthy of it when it comes. When you are faced with these new parts of your new story, you have to feel worthy of it and accept it and receive it as part of the new story that you want to tell. Your entire reality will shift. And this is the model that I really use to do it. So I hope some of that resonated with you. If you have any more questions about this, you can leave a comment or you can message me anywhere that you would like. Yeah, I really think it's a powerful tool, and I'm grateful and glad that I could share it with you today. So as always, have an amazing day, a wonderful night, and I will see you next time.